Hello viewers, for DIYers here with another tutorial video for everyone. In this particular video here, I'll be showing you how to remove the rear pillar trim on a 3rd generation Dodge Ram. This particular truck I am working with here is a 2006 regular cab model. A similar procedure may apply to the 4-door trucks. This will also cover the basic speaker removal as well. First is removing the 3 T25 torx screws in the base, which holds in the rear tray. You'll need to push the bottom of the seats ahead for extra room. I did run into a slight problem where the tray was catching up on the rear of the center console seat back. In order to gain some extra space, I ended up unbolting the center seat backrest and was able to push it ahead a couple inches. It's held in with 2 T45 torx bolts, but they are different for each side, so make note of which goes where. Finally, lift out the tray. Now for the seat belt pivots, remove the outer cap. This just snaps into place. Then remove the T50 torx bolt. This will come out a little harder as it does have thread locker. Then remove the pivot. The trim comes out in 2 pieces. The top portion is required to be removed first. I found it's easiest to grab onto the outer door edge, then pull the trim straight out. There are various clips on the back side which holds it into place. I'll give you a view of the back side in a moment. The bottom piece has the same type of snap clips. Start from the top and slowly work your way down. You'll need to twist the seat belt and feed it out through the slot on the top of the trim. When you get to the bottom, this piece of trim slips under the front part of the door sill trim. You can completely remove the door sill trim or just pop off the back portion. It has enough flex to work out the rear piece. Here's a view underneath that trim. As you can see, it had little tabs which locks into the rear trim piece. Someone has already taken it apart, so you can see one of the tabs are bent. Here's a view behind the trim on the cab. And another view underneath where that storage tray was located. Going over to the passenger side, again remove the cover on the seatbelt pivot. Next is the T50 torx bolt. This one was stripped, so I had a harder time removing it. I used an impact driver, then purchased a new replacement from the dealer. Here you can see the bolt. Unclip the top portion of the trim first and place it somewhere safe. Unclip the lower portion of the trim. Twist the seatbelt in a vertical orientation, then remove it from its slot. Finally, lift up the rear portion of the front door sill trim, then lift out the pillar trim. For the speakers, mine were held in with Phillips screws. Yours may be slightly different as my speakers were previously changed. I believe the factory Dodge speakers are 5 1/4 inches, but someone did replace them with 6.5 inch speakers. To gain access to those rear screws, you can pull back the carpet liner and go in from behind with a screwdriver. I replaced the speakers with another set of 6.5 inch, but a different brand. The speaker basket did have a slightly different design, so it didn't fit into factory cutouts. Instead, I had to make custom spacers so they fit properly. Unfortunately, most of the clips close to the floor were completely rotten, which is why you're seeing some rust staining. I purchased new generic replacements off Amazon. I'll have a link to those in the video description. Their profile does need to be slightly adjusted so it has a tight fit, but they do work good otherwise. To adjust their profile, just use needle nose pliers to make sure the clip is slightly wider, and pinch the portion tighter where it clips around the plastic. Some of the clips and alignment tabs were also bent from improper installation. To fix this, heat up the plastic with a heat gun, bend it back in the proper position and let it cool. I don't recommend doing this when it's not heated as you can crack the plastic. While I'm doing this, you can also see in behind the trim piece. The top portion is to the left and the bottom portion is to the right. As for removing the leftover portions of rusty clips, use a small screwdriver or scriber in their mounting holes along with a vacuum. For installation, twist the seat belts and feed them into their slots. Make sure they're not twisted and laying in the correct position. Ensure it's pushed down and under the first portion of sill trim. Align the tabs and slowly snap it back into place, making sure you're not damaging any tangs. Once done, snap the back side of the sill trim piece in place. Here's a view of that top pillar trim piece before it goes back in. Do the same for the top piece. Align those tangs and clips, then push it into place. You'll most likely need to align the seat height adjustment trim too. Install the seat belt pivot. Again, make sure the belt isn't twisted and it's in the correct position. You may need to apply more medium grade thread locker to the bolt. Tighten the T50 Torx bolt to 29 foot-pounds or 39 Newton meters. And finally, snap on the cap. For the opposite side, it's the same process. Make sure you lift up that sill trim and feed this portion under. Feed the seatbelt through the slot, push the trim down, and align those tabs and snap it back into place. For the upper portion, again align those tabs and snap it back into place. Make sure that seatbelt slider is aligned with the fastener point. This was the side I had to order a new bolt for. Install the pivot. The bolt torque specs are 29 foot-pounds or 39 Newton meters. If you have purchased a replacement, it comes pre-applied with thread locker. Then snap the cap back into place. Reinstall the storage tray. This can be a little tricky getting it back into place as it's an awkward piece. Reinstall all those T25 Torx screws. There are 3 in total. The final part to be bolted back in is the armrest. There are different bolts on each side. Then you're officially done. New videos are released every week on my channel. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It's a huge help to me, and leave a comment below if you found this tutorial helpful. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to also hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.